Welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show, where we get to the heart of why you overeat and how to stop. If you struggle with food and weight like I did, welcome home. Welcome everybody to the Heal Your Hunger Show. So happy to have you here. It is a great day to be alive, and I am over the top excited about the upcoming Make Peace with Food retreat. Are you registered? Are you coming? You gotta be there. You absolutely have to be there. If you are tired of dieting, if you want a solution for your food and weight struggles, if you want to be able to lose weight and keep it off without feeling deprived and miserable, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that in this incredible retreat called Make Peace with Food. Love your body, love your food, and love your life. If you want to be a part of this, join us now. The tickets are super inexpensive. The biggest thing you need to do is set aside the time, make yourself a priority. Look, you make other people a priority, make yourself a priority, and be with us here. And don't put it off, because your health can't wait. Okay? Your health can't wait. Be there for this epic experience. You can go to makepeacewithfood.live to find out more. Makepeacewithfood.live. We would love to have you with us. It's going to be an intimate group, incredible, online, anywhere from the world. Join us. If you're in a part of the world that you have to stay up late, or you have to be there in the middle of the night, do it. You do that for a binge, right? You've been up in the middle of the night binging. Why can't you be up in the middle of the night joining us from wherever you are in the world? Yeah, it's worth it. You know, catch some sleep on the back end, but don't miss this opportunity to change your life. Makepeacewithfood.live. Okay, what I want to do is share with you about how to trust yourself around food. Now, I hear this a lot, like I want to be able to trust myself. Not a lot. Sometimes I hear people say, I want to be able to trust myself around food. And I have to tell you, I want you to be able to trust yourself around food. But the fact that you can't trust yourself around food is not a moral failure. Okay, it's not a moral failure, because if you're an emotional eater on the higher end of the spectrum, and you can actually take a quiz on my website to find out where you're on the spectrum. If you're on the higher end of the spectrum, you're addicted to food, or an emotional eater in that higher realm of the spectrum, you can't trust yourself with food. You can't trust yourself with food, because part of being an emotional eater is that you slip up when you don't intend to. There's an element of surprise, right? When you fully intend to follow a clean eating plan, when you fully intend to not eat the cake, when you fully intend to get up the next morning and do your exercises, and you don't, that element of loss of control, that element of powerlessness, to me is part and parcel of being an emotional eater. Because guess what? If you could control yourself, you wouldn't be in the predicament you're in. But the problem is you're beating yourself up because you can't trust yourself, because you say one thing and you do another. And people we love, people who love us, watch us do this. They watch us make promises and break them. And what happens when we break them is we lose a piece of ourself. We lose a piece of our self-esteem. Like, wow, I don't even do what I say I'm going to do. And it's demoralizing, right? It's demoralizing to have every intention to eat that, but you eat this instead. And it's awful. I've done it a million times over, right? Like it makes us sort of wonder about our own sanity when we're going in this direction and we have every intention, and all of a sudden we find ourselves in the store with cookies and ice cream. Now, why do we do that? What is wrong with us? That's what I would say to myself. What's wrong with me that I can't even do what I say I'm going to do? And people do scratch their heads and wonder what's wrong with us, right? But I'm here to say, if you're an emotional eater or a food addict, that's part of the deal. It's an addictive habit. And somebody who's addicted can't stop themselves. So I want you to stop beating yourself up when you feel like you've lost trust in yourself, right? Around this area, you may have so much self-discipline in other areas, and most of the time you do, right? You run companies, you manage teams, You have a gaggle of kids that are doing great in the world, but you can't trust yourself around food. So what I want to do is I want to help you trust in things that you actually can trust. So in order to trust yourself around food, you're not actually going to try to make yourself do the right thing around food. All right. So if diets don't work, I don't want you to keep trying to follow a certain diet. And I know that sounds kind of crazy. And I don't mean go eat hamburgers and fries either. I don't mean just say give it up and don't bother. No, bother, do your best, but then focus your attention on things that you can trust yourself to do by grace. Okay? Now I don't have willpower. I don't have willpower, so I can't trust myself to do the right thing around food. And I don't try. But what I do try to do is trust God. Okay? So I every morning ask God to help me with my eating because I can't trust myself. And so I appeal to my divine spirit. And I'm not here to say what that should be for you. Your God, your higher power. Many words for it, they're all insufficient. Okay, but appeal to a divine source if you believe in that. And if not, appeal to a source of power that is feels gentle to you and meaningful to you, like nature. Okay, but I want you, my point here is I want you to ask for help with something that you clearly need help with. Okay, so instead of trying to muster up your power and have power with food and trust in yourself, trust in divine spirit to help you. Now that's not enough. Okay, and many of you have done that. You're like, I've prayed to God, like I've done all kinds of prayers, and God apparently doesn't hear me. Well, that's not true. God has given you resources that can help you. And if you're not using those resources, then it's not that God is failing you. It's that you haven't reached out for the help that God has given you. You've probably heard that example of somebody who's on top of a house in a flood. And that somebody is saying, oh God, help me. And God sends a person in a rowboat, says, jump in, I'll take you to shore. And you're like, no, I'm waiting for God to help me. And God sends, God sends a boat, a speedboat, the Coast Guard. And you're like, nope, I've prayed about this. God's going to help me. And the speedboat goes and helps somebody else. And then God sends a helicopter. And you're like, I appreciate the help, but I'm putting my trust in God. And then he dies. and he goes to heaven. He's like, God, what's up? I prayed and nothing happened. You didn't help me. God's like, what do you want? I sent you a rowboat, a speedboat, Coast Guard, no less, and a helicopter. And you said no to it all. This is how I was helping you. So my point here is, yes, pray. You got to pray. I pray every day. But I also have to take action by accessing the resources that God gives me. And so what I trust in is I trust in a proven path to heal emotional eating. I was 50 pounds overweight and I lost that weight and kept it off through a very specific step-by-step process that had nothing to do with willpower, nothing to do with diets, and everything to do with healing emotional eating, healing my unhealthy relationship and dependence on food. And I've outlined that step-by-step process. I've codified it and put it in a plan, the Heal Your Hunger system. So if you've come across Heal Your Hunger, if you've been shown this system, try it. Trust the plan. That's how we trust God, is we use the resources God gives us. Okay, if you want to know more about that, I have a book called Heal Your Hunger, 7 Simple Steps to End Emotional Eating Now. You can also check out my TED Talk where I talk some about that plan. But definitely reach out to us if you're ready to take action on that plan. The book doesn't involve community with other emotional eaters who can help you follow that plan. That's what you need if you want to take action on what is in the book. But the point is, these are all resources that are available to you. But if you don't use these resources, then just praying to God isn't enough. Trust the plan. Trust the process. The process is doing a pivot from diets and addressing emotional eating. So there's another element of trust here. Trust that if you address and heal the underlying causes, what causes the compulsion to go to the kitchen and eat, if you heal that compulsion and the underlying causes of it, you will lose weight and keep it off, not by direct effort. And this is what happened for me, and this is what my clients are doing. My clients are losing weight without dieting. The weight is coming off. They're putting the work in. I'm not going to lie. There's work involved, but not work on your diet. So trust that if you stop emotionally eating, you will lose weight. And I ask my clients every day to trust that. And when they do, they see results. Trust that if you stop emotionally eating, you will lose weight. Because most of our eating, when we eat more than our body needs, is emotionally driven. So trust that. If you get off the diet track, you start addressing emotional eating and what drives you to hit the kitchen, you will lose weight just by doing that. Okay, it does take work though. It's work on yourself, not on your diet. Trust that if you feel your feelings, those feelings will pass. Okay, this is another place you can use trust. Instead of trusting that you're going to eat the right thing, trust that if you feel your feelings, feel, deal, and heal. That's what I tell people. Feel, deal, and heal. If you face, embrace, they will erase. Okay, so feel, deal, and heal your feelings. Face your feelings, embrace your feelings, and they will be erased. Okay, face, embrace, erase. When you do that, we get to the other side of them. So much of the time as emotional eaters, we're just plain terrified of feeling. We're so afraid to feel. We have a deep lying belief that to feel is to die. And when we were kids, we probably had way too many feelings from trauma, from dysfunction in the family, from not getting the proper support or having the right people to turn to. And our only solution was to stuff those feelings. And at some level, it felt like had we felt those feelings because we had no coping tools, had we felt those feelings, we might have crumbled and died. Okay, we might have jumped off a bridge. So thank God we had food. But in your adult self, I want to tell you that with the proper support, you can feel, deal, and heal. So it takes trust. Every day I ask my clients to trust that if you walk through those feelings, you will work through those feelings and you'll get to the other side of them. It's just in the moment, we're so used to just, as a snap decision, let me eat something. This is uncomfortable, let me eat something. So I want you to trust that if you feel it, you can heal it. With the proper support, don't do that alone. Don't do it alone, okay? I want you also to trust that if you stop trying to please everybody, you will be okay. As emotional eaters, we are consummate people pleasers, and part of our eating comes from doing too much for too many people and running ourselves ragged and getting resentful. It is a common thing. And you probably relate to that right now. So if you do, people pleasing is getting the best of you, because to be exhausted and resentful is a perfect setup for the I deserve it binge, right? I'm going to reward myself with the foods I deserve. But then you're eating and feeling crappy and gaining weight. So what I'm asking you to do is set boundaries on your time. Stop people pleasing. And I don't mean you're going to stop cold turkey. I understand it's, friends, I'm still trying to course correct from a whole lot of, people pleasing, and from just a knee-jerk reaction, which is let me please you. Let me please you. Let me try to get you to like me. So I'm still recovering from this decades later. But my point is, it's really crucial that we address the people pleasing, and we have to do that by feeling uncomfortable feelings, the possibility somebody might not be pleased with us. But what I want you to do is trust that if you are honest about your feelings, if you're honest about what you can and cannot do, when you set limits on your time, otherwise known as boundaries, you will be okay. You do not have to please everybody. So I want you to trust that when you set boundaries on your time, when you stop trying to be all things to all people, you'll be okay, and others will be okay. There's always somebody they can turn to, okay? If you're not the sucker, let them go find another sucker, somebody who'll do their work for them. The last thing I want to say is that if you stop making the scale your higher power by checking it every 5 minutes to see what it says, you can still lose weight. Now, I know that's a radical concept, and you may not be ready. My clients need a lot of support to let go of the scale. It kind of shocks them when I suggest it. But I'm going to put it right here, okay? I'm going to say, take a look, first of all, at your relationship with the scale. Is it running your life? Is it telling you first thing in the morning how you should feel? Do you step on the scale and say, scale, tell me how I'm going to feel today? Because if it's a number you like, you feel great. If it's a number you don't like, you feel crappy. Are you making the scale determine how you feel? Just ask yourself that. I'm just saying, just consider the possibility. The best thing you can do is let go of the scale, let go of the hyper focus on your weight. Turn your attention to the inward journey of addressing emotional eating, addressing your emotions, just becoming more acquainted with yourself, how you really feel. That's an incredible journey. That's a delicious journey. If you put your focus there and you trust that inside job is where you need to put your focus, and you can lose weight when you do that, that's what I want you to trust. So you may think all this is hogwash, and that's totally okay. I'm planting seeds here. Consider what I've shared. Trust in things that you can do something about, not trying to make yourself eat right. To me, how we eat is a symptom of how we're living. Put your faith in things that can help you. A plan for overcoming emotional eating. Divine spirit that's always there to guide you and love you. Putting boundaries on your time so you're not, stretched too thin, not harried and overwhelmed. And also trusting that others are going to be okay. They'll get what they need. They will source the help they need if you're not constantly saving them. Trust that. The scale, trust that if you just eat in a healthy way and you start that inward journey, that you're going to be okay. If you do these things, if you trust in the things you can do something about, the weight will take care of itself. It's not that you're not going to do your best to eat healthy. Cut out things that are trigger foods for you. That's all really important. But I want you to stop trying to trust yourself around food and trust the things that will help you have a healthy relationship with food. I love you so much. I'm here for you. Over and out.
If you enjoyed this podcast and want to get free support, insider health info, exclusive invites to events, and more, visit healyourhunger.com.